the Triangle's #1 source for news. This is WRAL, coverage you can count on.
Yesterday, one of the darkest days in the history of our nation.
We watched in horror as mobs stormed the United States Capitol.
What I saw yesterday was something that brought tears to my eyes. My heart was broken. We are going to get through this together.
Right now at 4, America suffered an unprecedented attack on its democracy during a deadly riot in our nation's capital. Today, calls are growing for President Trump's removal from office, including from Governor Roy Cooper, who just tweeted in the last 15 minutes. We have a team of reporters covering this story today in North Carolina and Washington, D.C. We'll get to those stories in just a few minutes. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Gerald Owens.
I'm Lena Tillett. Two of our other top stories today. North Carolina shattering its record for coronavirus cases reported in one day with more than 10,000 new cases. That is 3 times the average new cases we had in mid-November. And we're also following a chance for snow tomorrow. Parts of the viewing area are under a winter weather advisory. WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with what we can expect. Mike?
Well, Lena, this advisory just came out about 15 minutes ago. Encompasses a lot of the viewing area from Raleigh north to southern Virginia, west toward Alamance County, including Chatham, Lee, and Moore counties. That's Southern Pines, Sanford, all the way up to Warrenton, Henderson, also Oxford, getting over into Lewisburg and Roxborough, Durham, Chapel Hill. What we're expecting is a trace to as much as 2 inches of snow as the system moves on by. And we think it will happen in 3 stages. The morning stage, rain, maybe mixed with some wet snowflakes, could be light accumulation in our northern counties. Then we'll call the afternoon the lull. Drier, warmer air comes on in, so don't expect anything frozen at this point. But notice back towards Charlotte, that's our upper level low. That's the stage 3, where the upper level low brings down the freezing level. That's when we're more likely to see snow. There could be some bursts of snow, which may allow for 1, maybe up as much as 2 inches of snow. And then by midnight tomorrow night, the upper level low is moving out. The snow tapers off. The big issue, though, is the track of the upper level low. And where that goes, that would dictate who sees the snow and how much it would see. We're going to iron this out with Futurecast, Lena, coming up in less than 15 minutes.
Mike, thanks so much. Back now to our coverage from the riot at the U.S. Capitol. North Carolina Congressman David Price is calling on Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment in order to immediately remove President Trump from office. Meanwhile, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi is also calling on the Capitol Police Chief to resign. Today, the first person from President Trump's cabinet has resigned. Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao says she was deeply troubled by the entirely avoidable act at the Capitol. President-elect Joe Biden also spoke today about yesterday's events. Let's go to Mark Boyle in the Live Center for an update. Mark?
Lena, you all mentioned at the top of the newscast about Governor Roy Cooper's tweet. That tweet came out just a few minutes before our 4 o'clock newscast, and this is how it reads. The president has betrayed our country and is therefore unfit to lead it. He should resign or be removed from office. That message from the governor of North Carolina within the past 10 minutes. Just before this, we did hear from President-elect Joe Biden. He spoke to the country and talked about what happened and unfolded at the Capitol yesterday, and also talked about the police response. Take a listen.
No one can tell me that if had been a group of Black Lives Matter protesting yesterday, they wouldn't have been treated very, very differently than the mob of thugs that stormed the Capitol. We all know that's true. And it is unacceptable, totally unacceptable.
And we continue to see change at the top level in the White House. Different people have been offering up their resignations. We expect that to continue. We're monitoring all the changes right here in the Live Center this afternoon. Back to you.
We're following 2 breaking news stories this afternoon. Duke University's head basketball coach Mike Krzyzewski is retiring after the next season, after 41 seasons with Duke. Meanwhile, a Wake County deputy is in the hospital after he was shot with an assault rifle. Law enforcement just provided an update in the last 2 hours, and we have team coverage coming up. Thanks for being with us. I'm Lena Tillett.
And I'm Gerald Owens. We are also watching the weather. The WRAL Storm Tracker is out on US 1 and Apex. You can see the rain falling hard right now. The WRAL Severe Weather Team is watching this very closely. Meteorologist Kat Campbell will show us where we will see thunderstorms and when straight ahead.
First, Duke's basketball coach, Coach K, is retiring after the 2021-2022 season. Multiple outlets, including ESPN, are now reporting this stunning news. WRAL's Durham reporter Sarah Kruger joins us live on Duke's campus after speaking with alums and students. Sarah, what a shock for them.
Lena, wow, a complete shock. It is still really sinking in what an impact this will have here on this campus, as well as for the entire sport. This past year has just been one shock after another in the world and in the world of college basketball. Now, add this to the list. Duke students and alums will tell you Coach K is an integral part not just of Duke basketball, but of Duke itself.
So a living legend, honestly. I don't know, I think a lot of Duke culture is wrapped around basketball and him, and I think that, I don't know, I think he'll be sorely missed.
When you heard the news, talk me through your thought process.
Pretty blown away. Not super surprised he announced before the season I'd have the retirement tour.
Even UNC fans were taken aback by the news. They know what it feels like having just gone through head coach Roy Williams' retirement. What do you think this does for the rivalry with two new head coaches now?
Oh, I think it actually sparks it up, and after the pandemic and all that, I think it kind of, everybody's going to want to see, and I think it's going to kind of rejuvenate and energize us all back up. Not that we really needed it.
According to multiple reports, Duke assistant coach and former Duke player John Shire is the likely replacement.
I'm excited for John Shire. I really liked him a lot. I grew up a Duke fan. Really liked him when he was on the championship team in 2010. And I don't know how good he'll do, but I wish him all the best.
And I've reached out to the Duke University public information officials as well as those on the sports side to try to get any statement or reaction to this news. And so far they are being very quiet, not saying anything about these major developments. Lena.
We are desperate to hear from them, certainly. Sarah Kruger live at Duke University. Thank you.
And with a shifting landscape, we're certainly getting reaction from people across the board, players, those who know the game, analysts. Let's start right here with Jay Billis. He was a former player for Coach K years ago between 1982 and 1986, saying this is going to be the toughest act to follow in college basketball history. Dick Vitale on ESPN tweeting this afternoon, just learned on vacation about the news Coach K is stepping down. He says, I'm not shocked, as we saw Roy Williams leave and now Coach K. The instability and wackiness in college hoops doesn't make for a fun time. Just two reactions right here to many. We're following this very closely here in the Live Center. Any major updates on this front or social reaction or any reaction at all for that fact, we'll have it for you right here on WRAL.
All right, thank you so much, Mark. Now, when you look at Coach K's career, the accomplishments are just staggering. Okay, this will be his 42nd season at Duke, and part of the reason the court bears his name is because of this type of record. His record, 1,097 wins to his 302 losses. Duke has won 5 national championships under his watch and made 12 appearances in the Final Four. 67 of his players were selected in the NBA draft, 41 of which in the first round. He's also earned 6 gold medals as head of the U.S. men's national team, including 3 consecutive Olympic gold medals. And those numbers are just the tip of the iceberg here. Tonight at 5 o'clock, we will have a tribute breaking down the history of Coach K's career. We'll also hear from UNC's former head coach, Roy Williams.
Now back to that breaking news from Raleigh. A Wake County deputy shot with an assault rifle while serving an eviction notice at this apartment complex in Raleigh. Sky 5 was over the scene around 10:30 this morning. It happened in the River Birch at Town Center Apartments off Old Wake Forest Road. That's west of Capitol Boulevard. We have live team coverage on what led to the shooting and how the deputy is doing. It was certainly a tense and emotional scene for several hours. WRL's Amanda Lamb has been there all day. She joins us live with what we've been able to learn so far. Amanda?
Gerald, what we understand from the Sheriff Gerald Baker is that 3 deputies were here serving eviction notices on multiple apartments. About 9 minutes ago, we got a press release from Raleigh Police confirming the charges for the person who was arrested in this shooting, Eddie Dwayne Craig, 32 years old, 2 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon with intent to kill, 3 counts of attempted murder, 3 counts of assault on a law enforcement officer with a firearm with a dangerous weapon with intent to kill, inflicting serious injury. things are quiet here tonight, but that wasn't the case earlier today. It's the call no law enforcement agency wants to ever get. Officer down.
Around 10:30 this morning, Wake County Dispatch received a call that one of our deputies had been shot.
Sergeant Ron Waller with the Wake County Sheriff's Office was serving an eviction notice when Raleigh police say 32-year-old Eddie Craig opened fire on the deputy from his apartment door.
A gunfire came from inside of that apartment and struck one of our officers twice.
Officers from all over the county sped to the scene. At first, Raleigh officers put Waller in their car, then EMS arrived and transported him to Wake Med. Investigators say Craig surrendered, and now the healing begins.
On behalf of Wake County Sheriff's Department, we want to thank every law enforcement agency that came to our deputy's aid.
Now, several members of the Sheriff's Office, including the sheriff himself, got emotional today, thanking the Raleigh police and the Wake EMS who responded so quickly to this scene and were able to get the officer to the hospital where he underwent surgery today. And as you can imagine, anytime you get a call like that for an officer, whether it's from your agency or not, it is just absolutely horrifying. And again, they just all got here to try to do what they could to help. Back to you, Gerald.
Absolutely. We all understand that. Amanda Lamb, live in Raleigh. Thank you, Amanda.
And Sergeant Waller, who was shot in the hip, underwent surgery this afternoon at Wake Med.
WRL's Aaron Thomas continues our team coverage from the hospital with how the deputy is doing. Aaron?
Yeah, Sergeant Waller is currently stable after undergoing surgery here at Wake Med. Sheriff Baker calling the response from fellow law enforcement agencies tremendous. This was the scene outside Wake Med Hospital's emergency room throughout the day. A large presence of vehicles from Wake County Sheriff's Office and the Raleigh Police Department. Sergeant Waller's injuries are considered serious and medical staff quickly got him into surgery. He was shot twice. The sheriff and the chief medical officer at Wake Med commended the quick actions of Raleigh police officers who arrived on the scene.
We're very appreciative of the care that he received at the scene. We're very appreciative for the opportunity to work beside our brothers and sisters. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family, and we'll continue with them.
And Sheriff Gerald Baker, when he spoke to media, he said that what happened today shows you how tough this job is for officers and deputies, and it's dangerous, but they will learn from this. Back to you.
Aaron Thomas live at Wake Med. Thank you, Aaron. As you heard, the shooting happened as Deputy Waller was serving an eviction notice. With a moratorium in place because of the pandemic, we wanted to know why our eviction notice is still being served. WRL Investigates has that part of our coverage tonight at 5. Next at 4, WRL Sky 5 over the scene as officers chased a man wanted in connection with the disappearance of his wife. We have team coverage on the arrest, the massive traffic backup, and the woman they are still looking for. Plus,
it's official. North Carolina has its first $1 million vaccine lottery winner. Is it you? We're breaking down the drawing process and how soon a winner could be revealed.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news at 4. A man is in police custody after this chase involving this SUV linked to his missing wife. This was a scene from WRAL Sky 5. I want you to keep your eye on this black SUV here. It ended dramatically after officers put down stop sticks. And then you can see the man jump out of the passenger side window here and then run into the woods. You can see him first fall down and then run into this wooded area before deputies are able to finally capture this man. This was quite the traumatic scene here on I-40. Thanks for being with us. I'm Lena Tillett.
and I'm Gerald Owens. The chase went through 3 counties, starting in 4 Oaks in Johnston County, where the suspect was spotted, then traveling into Newton Grove in Sampson County. Then Wiggins turned around, went back through Johnston County, where he was apprehended on I-40 in Raleigh. I want to show you a picture of Carl and Kiara Wiggins. Carl Wiggins now in custody in connection with his wife's disappearance, while Kiara is still missing. We have live team coverage this afternoon on this developing story. We begin with Keely Arthur, live on I-40. Keely?
So breaking in just the last few moments, Carl Wiggins' stolen SUV that was parked right here has just been moved by authorities. We're between Rock Quarry Road on I-40 and Jones Sausage Road. Wiggins, as you mentioned, is in custody, and commuters certainly happy right now that all lanes of traffic are now open.
A wild ride on 40 West this afternoon around 1 p.m. WRAL Sky 5 captured the high-speed chase as authorities pursued Carl Wiggins. He is wanted for questioning in the disappearance of his wife, 39-year-old Kiera Wiggins of Sampson County. Carl Wiggins reached speeds of 90 miles an hour as he drove from Johnston County into Wake County. You can see here as stop sticks blew out the tires around mile marker 303, sending Wiggins' SUV hurling into a concrete barrier. Our cameras captured Wiggins' final push to evade authorities as he ran into the nearby woods, only to be apprehended moments later. As Wiggins heads into jail, commuters are left in standstill traffic. We timed out how long it would take to get from Jones Sausage Road to the crime scene. A drive that would normally take a minute or so took more than 10.
It should move a little bit faster now that lanes of traffic have opened up. There is still a bit of traffic, but that's just because it's rush hour and there's, of course, summer construction going on right now. As we mentioned, Kiera Wiggins still missing. They said they did not find her in the SUV, but I will say they studied that SUV for hours, so maybe some important pieces of evidence coming out of that. Gerald?
We'll see what happens there. Keely Arthur live along I-40. Thank you, Keely.
I'm Mark Boyle in the WRAL Live Center, keeping a close look at the roads in that specific spot Keely was talking about. Here is I-40, looking at 3D TrueView traffic right now at 403. You can see there are still some slowdowns there on the westbound or inbound lanes, showing the slowdowns as residual delays continue to mount going into rush hour. Just understand that I-40 through that area is going to be slow going this afternoon. Back to you.
Thanks, Mark. And brand new video here. Less than an hour ago, Carl Wiggins was taken into custody at the Sampson County Detention Center. WRAL's Gilbert Bays has been all over this story. He was there when this happened, and he joins us now live with reaction from family members who are so desperate to know what's happened to Kiera. Gilbert?
Yeah, Lena, let's put this in perspective. It's June 23rd. She's been missing since June 9th. That's 2 weeks that the family has not seen Kiera Wiggins or her husband for that matter. So he was captured after that high-speed chase on I-40 and brought here to the Sampson County Detention Center. We've got footage of him actually going in. We want to roll that for you and show you that. He's been on the loose for a couple of weeks now. It only took him just a couple of seconds to get out of that patrol car and go into the building, and that's where the questioning now will begin. Hopefully it will lead to the whereabouts of his missing wife. They have been looking for him for some time. He stole the SUV, we're told, down in Bladen County, and returned to Sampson County and was seen on Saturday with it not too far away from the detention center, where family members encountered him, and he was able to leave before authorities were able to catch him on Saturday night, this past Saturday. Now, I did have a chance on my phone to get some footage of Carl Wiggins going into the Sampson County Detention Center. I was able to show it to both his mother, to Kiera Wiggins' mother and her aunt, and I want to roll that to you, and you'll see what her aunt's response is when she sees his face for the first time since Kiera Wiggins has been missing. When you see him, let me know.
Yes. Yes, Lord. Yes. Yep, that's him.
What's going through your head now that you saw his face and see him going in there?
I want to go. I want to go down there. I ain't gonna hurt him. I wouldn't hurt him because it's somebody else's child. I wouldn't hurt him.
What does this mean to the family in terms of Kiera being missing? He's the key to this.
He is the key. They don't go without one another. They together all the time.
You know, and you could hear the emotion in her voice. Got the same reaction from her mother when I showed the video to her as well. Again, let's put this in perspective. They have captured Carl Wiggins, but the loved one, the wife, the daughter, the sister is still missing, and they're hoping that the capture of Wiggins will lead them to the missing woman.
Wow, we are just speechless. Gilbert Bays live in Sampson County. Thank you.
Yeah, sends chills down your spine. And we will be staying on top of this story as we wait to hear about any updates on the missing woman, Kiara Wiggins. We'll bring you any information right here on WRAL TV and WRAL.com.